year is 2020. As the old financial empires collapsed and crypto drowned in noise and false prophets, one man lost everything. And in that loss, he was called. Through the wreckage of his own failure and the precision of his charts, a higher force revealed what others could not see and entrusted him with a mission to guide others through the chaos he barely survived. They call him Sacred Prophet. And now, the revelation is yours to claim.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Sunday Fuel for November 2nd, 2025. I am your humble host, Sacred Prophet, otherwise known as Tom Hartman, joined as ever by my plucky sidekick and Aaron in training, Peter Bad Guru Hartman. Say hello to everyone, Peter.
Hello to everyone, Peter.
Today is a day that will live in infamy. The day where I guarantee Bitcoin has bottomed. TM. Here is how I know. Actually, no, I can't do that. I have to do it the right way. If you want to find out how I know for a fact Bitcoin has bottomed TM, you have to stick around to the end of the stream, right? Is that what I do, Peter? And then we'll put up a QR code on the screen and people scan it. They give us the personal information, and all of a sudden they're going to get that. They're going to get the details. That's how we get engagement, right?
That's how we engagement. That's right. You got to tease them to the end. But I mean, yeah, you don't have to like lay it out. You got something good for them coming, right? You do have something good coming up for them at the end of the stream if they stay.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, everything is great everywhere through. There are these slow periods where you speak, but those are like the silence in between the notes of music. What we call contrast, or as Alan Watts calls it, black pepper in the gumbo. A little bit too much spoils it. A little bit too little, and it's a problem.
Black pepper? All right.
Black pepper in the gumbo.
Is that what goes in gumbo? Black pepper? Don't they put like chili peppers or something?
I'm not even sure what gumbo is. I think it's a type of squid.
Okay. What do you got for us, Tom? All right, Sacred Prophet. You say you're guaranteeing something. All right,
I'm guaranteeing Bitcoin has bottomed TM. I've told you that I can't be any more clearer. I'm open, honest, and transparent about everything. And Bitcoin has bottomed TM.
Okay, so all right, so I guess we're going to go through the charts, and then you're going to explain why you think this, right?
That's right. Well, Sunday Fuel is the show that gets us prepared for the week ahead. I like knowing what news to look out for, what sort of event shocks to pay attention to, and what are the levels that I'm looking at for the daily levels and the weekly trend. Now, this is something I do every single day, and you could always get more of this information as I do it on the Telegram group, which you can get by going to sacredprophet.com and signing up for free. But Sunday Fuel is great because you get my commentary, you get feedback, you can ask questions if you want to, and it's an all-around good time. People really want to get a lot of yours truly in their daily lives. I'm trying to give them as much as they can. I'm just one man, Peter. I'm trying to give them as much as I can.
You're so kind. You're so kind.
I am. Mm-hmm. I also do Daily Bread Mondays to Thursday nights. Usually I live stream around 11, 12 o'clock, whenever the fancy hits me. And there you're getting like macro news and market news that's happening that day that matters over the short term, but on a macro scale. That I love doing. And of course, you guys can see me on Fridays on After Hours on Traders Post YouTube channel.
People are saying that Daily Bread is not as good because Peter Hartman is not there, Bad Guru is not there. It's just what's been going around. It's just what I've been seeing.
Well, I'll tell you, even Sacred Prophet's not there, so like it takes it down a notch. I get that, but what happens is that I'm too loud as Sacred Prophet in the middle of the night, and I'll wake up everybody if I'm just there in my bombastic self. So what you get is a teeny little bit, a little dumb down. You get Tom Hartman. You get Tom Hartman, and you don't get me in my final form.
Is that what you're right now? Is this your final form?
I'm getting up there. I'm getting up there.
That's not the line, Tom. The line is
because you don't know you're dreaming.
You haven't even seen my final form. All right.
Bitcoin, MNQ. These are the two assets I focus on, but that's not all I pay attention to. I like pay attention to gold. I like paying attention to the dollar, and so on and so forth. Why? Because I care about the flow of dollars, the flow of liquidity through the system. Now, Peter, let's just take a look at the quick levels here, and then I will just touch on a few news items that I'm keeping my eye out on, and then I want to make the case here for Bitcoin having bottom, or what's the bull case for it. So for the week ahead, if we take a look at the dollar, we see that the dollar is pushing up against the top end of the range. We take a look at the DX futures for dollar because that's where our indicators work. We do need volume information in order to see what's going on there. So it's not exactly the same as the DXY or the trade weighted dollar. But even as I say that, I can see some of your eyes roll back in your head, especially Peter, because he has no idea the difference between the DXY or the trade-weighted dollar. So let's just take a look at what's on the screen. All right, let's take a look at what's on the screen. Yep. Now, the problem is we have just now, at the beginning, starting, breaking out the bullish trend on the dollar. You can see that through right here. Let me just put on the table so you can see the trend. Let me show the trend here for the, let's call it the 1 day. No, sorry, the 1 month. I should put the 1 month. 1 week, 1 month. So here I'm using the trend indicator. I'm putting on the 1 day, 1 week, and 1 month trend on the dashboard table at the bottom right over here. And you're seeing here that we just switched to bullish on the daily, on the weekly, and on the monthly. All right. That means if this continues, and it's likely to continue, that we are in for a run up in the dollar, which is generally bad for equities, right? Generally not a good thing. How long that run up goes for, it's hard to tell. It could be short-lived. It can be pretty gigantic. The problem that we have here is that the likelihood that we have is that the dollar is going to move up to this 101.2 level over here. If this continues, if this breaks out. So we have a short window of opportunity here for this not to be the case. And of course, we could have a short hop and then a fall down lower still, right? Just because we're breaking out the bullish trend doesn't mean the dollar's going up to 129 or anything like that. But it does mean that we do have, there's problems in the plumbing, the liquidity in the global system that we just can't ignore. So when we take a look at equities, we're seeing that show up in the, let's take a look at gold first. So we're seeing gold here already started responding to this drop in liquidity. Everyone has so far paid attention to this drop of about a 9% in gold, Peter. This is what we call the reverse Peter shift, where we have a drop in gold, and it is now underneath its monthly trend. So if we're looking for a top in gold, this is potentially it, or some major pullback that can happen. Looking at the longer trend, we're seeing that this is one healthy pullback that we have over here. Now, it's not bearish trend yet, but unless we reclaim this weekly level here of 41.87, we should expect a lower high and then move down lower. Right now for the week, just to show you how indecisive we are right now on all these assets, and you're going to see this, we are at the weekly level for gold right now. We're at it. So that means we could go either way, and since the trend has moved towards bearish, the chances are we go down lower. We're seeing the same thing here, something similar, when we take a look at the NASDAQ. Here's the NASDAQ on the daily. The weekly level for this week is 2669, 2670. And we're at 2654 right now. So basically we have like almost no time up before we're going to head down lower, potentially. And so we, again, just like in gold, we have this lower high, and we're looking for a lower low happening this week. So I'll be shorting. I'm looking to get off this thing, stop talking to you people, and as soon as hell, I want to put the trade on right now. Just to, if you get up over here, I want to be shorting this because that is a nice long way down to The next daily level below is at 25,478, and then the next one lower than that is 25,234. So that is anywhere up to 3% down, 830 points. So that is $1,600 you can make if you trade one micro down, $1,600. And if you trade one mini down, that's $16,000 that you can make just on that move over the next week. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Let's see if I could trade that nicely with my prop firm accounts. We'll see. I probably will. I have these amazing indicators that let me know what's going on.
Oh, that's not very sacred profit of you. Okay, you sound a little like Tom Hartman. You're going to do it, and you're going to do it great, all right? And if you fail, it's going to be a spectacular failure.
I'm going to succeed so hard that they'll no longer make Doritos chips, nacho chips, with cheese on them anymore. Like, that'll be over. It'll be a time before Doritos chips had cheese, and then afterwards, they have no cheese. Because, like, forget it. Tom has all the machismo inside of him, so there's no cheese for anything left over for anything else.
Okay, sure. Well, I hope you fail then. I hope you fail hard.
From my point of view, the Jedi are evil.
Are they going to add extra
What I
cheese?
realize is that it doesn't matter which sounds I play, just that I interrupt your train of thought and that we just stop you in the tracks.
Hello, Alfred Dog 7167. Good to see you again. How are you feeling with this market? Is it doing good for you? Are you trading? What's going on with you? All right, Tom. So you're sounding positive. It sounds good. All right, this is good. So what you're seeing, the tea leaves you're seeing in the charts, they're reading good for us, good for crypto, good for Bitcoin, good for prop firm traders. What's the deal?
When are we gonna get this word "good" out of your vocabulary? If you're short equities, I say yes, it's good. Because I think equities will fall. We'll get a nice, healthy correction. We want a correction.
Yeah.
All right. This whole thing here, where we go up and to the right here with like no drop whatsoever. This whole thing problematic. What we want is this. Because once we get that, then we get this again. All right. That's what we want. If you zoom out even further, you'll see that the dips are the opportunities in order to make the big run-ups. Because then you don't really have to think. You just go long every morning and you start printing money. But we want these dips, because if we don't, then you end up going long from these peaks, and it's scary. It's no guarantee. So I really want this to fall pretty dramatically. Plus, we have our levels. Our levels work lower down. There are no levels above us, other than psychological levels and invisible levels that you only find out when you hit into that.
Wonderful. Alfred Dog 7167 saying he's waiting for Santa Rally. When is that going to happen?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm going to get to a little bit later on. So let's just finish off with our levels here. The S&P we're looking at for this week, the weekly level is at 6902. And we have the next weekly level below that at 6769, which is about a almost a 2% drop. All right. Now, we're seeing in Bitcoin. Sorry, I forgot to mention Bitcoin. Bitcoin, just so you remember, we had daylight savings this weekend. And so normally I say that we're the 2-hour candle that we're looking for the close of the session happens at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time and starts at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, closes at 10. But now that we had the daylight savings, we're back to 7 p.m. to 9 p.m. So at 9 p.m. tonight, we'll know what that level is. But the level for Bitcoin that we're looking at is going to be somewhere in the 111,350 area. That's likely to be where the weekly level is. What does that mean? We're below that right now, so that means we'd be looking for a rise up to that level and then a short. That's what we'd be looking for. If it doesn't confirm this way and it goes above that level and comes down and confirms it, then we're looking for a long. All right, that's how we treat all these levels. If we come at it from above, Then we bounce, we expect a bounce. And only when it breaks and confirms lower do we use that support now as resistance. We don't preemptively do anything. You don't second guess it. You just keep your pattern. Because if you're trading 50x leverage or you're going to be trading prop firms, you can't put your feelings into it. Okay? You got to be following it straight ahead. You got to know who you are. All right. So
wait.
those
So
are the
how does that
go
relate
ahead.
to this? How does that relate to the Santa rally?
First of all, it's the Santa Claus rally, but the Santa Claus rally usually happens at the end of the year when the market is up that year, right? When everyone's assets have gone up in general, then people have more collateral. Their portfolios are worth more at the beginning of the year in January. And since it's worth more at the beginning of the year, some of these participants are able to use that as collateral in order to borrow more money. And what do they do with that money? They reinvest it again inside of the stock market. Why not reinvest it for the assets that have been high performing? So then those assets will go up in January. And since they'll go up in January and people know this, they front run it by buying at the end of the year. That's the Santa Claus rally.
Everybody knows this, Tom. What we want to know is, when is it going to happen? When? I'm looking for a time frame of when that occurs.
All right, Peter. So let's jump to the thing that's happening right now. What has been going on over this weekend, and we'll only really find out more about this come Monday, but what's been going on since Friday is that repo has gone crazy, the repo madness. So if you guys remember, we've talked about it a few times on Daily Bread. We've talked about it on After Hours, and I think we talked about it last Friday. It's this idea that there are these funding mechanisms. So there is the reverse repo and the standard facility, the standard repo facility that allows financial institutions to buy and sell assets with the Fed and guarantee a certain profit. And the Fed uses this in order to put a floor and the ceiling on interest rates on the short end. It's the way when the Fed says we're going to cut 25 basis points, what they mean is that they're going to be doing certain operations in order to get the interest rate to be around that level. It's a targeted level. Okay? Now, if there's funding pressures, in the case that we're in right now, there's not enough liquidity, financial institutions who have the right to do so can go and borrow money from the Fed. They could put assets to the side. They can sell assets to the Fed, borrow money, and they know they can come back the next day, take whatever profits that they have, buy their assets back at a guaranteed price. The Fed guarantees this price. So you're basically getting the ability to take a loan out, large loans, without any risk that, one, you can't take it out or that the interest rate will be too high. Okay? The amount of money that financial institutions borrow from, that they take advantage of this, is an indication of the stress within the system. All right? And what we saw for last Friday is that there were something like $29.4 billion worth of funds taken that we haven't seen since like COVID era or global financial crisis. That means there's such a demand for liquidity, there's not enough liquidity, that they have to go to the one source they know they can borrow it, which is from the Fed. So that means the Fed is injecting liquidity, but not excess liquidity. They're just doing enough just to get these people by. So when you say good news, is it good? Well, what's for sure is that the Fed knows this. That means they can't just, they know there's a problem, and the problem requires the only solution that the Fed has, which is more liquidity. They have to goose up more liquidity. They need something. The Fed will only do things if the market forces them to do it. That's why in the FOMC meeting that we had last Friday, Jerome Powell comes out and he goes, hey, you know the Fed rate cuts that you guys are expecting next December, that you guys have already priced into the markets? It's not a foregone conclusion. There's no guarantee we're going to do that, right? They're doing that in order to adjust market expectations. But if the market goes, we need this liquidity, they're going to come with that liquidity. And so now that we have these funding stresses, it makes it far more likely that the Fed will have to come in with emergency liquidity. When that happens, it should be over the next couple of weeks. We're going to see that because they know it's happening. This is not one of those situations where it's a shock and they don't know what's going on. So I should actually read this from Jeff Snyder. I'll talk about it more on the Daily Bread tomorrow, but I thought it was very interesting. He says here, this is Jeff Snyder. He is a whiz when it comes to the plumbing for the Eurodollar system, the global dollar system. And he says here, why big spike in repo mess on Friday? Was it big names admitting to hundreds of millions more of losses related to another collateral fraud factor firm bankruptcy? So what happened is that there's this big private telecom company that went bust back in August. And it's been alleged and increasingly confirmed that it faked $500 million in collateral. Faked it. That's $500 million. Now our system is built on debt. So what's going on is that is a basis for other debt. And so that led to the factoring firm or firms also going bankrupt when Prima did. Since then, several banks have fessed up to having exposure, some big, to this issue. Right? This is reminiscent of the global financial crisis, the subprime loan, houses, credit, the whole thing that caused that was the straw that broke the camel's back. Something like that seems to be happening. BlackRock's HPS investment partners reported to have written down, that means these are no good, $150 million, and BNP another $220 million. So this is cascading effect that's happening where people's collateral, this debt that they hold as collateral, turns out it's not worth anything. So as they write it off, it cascades up. For every $1, there could be $1,000 worth of debt that is piled on top of that, and all that comes crumbling down. So that's one of the things that causes the lack of liquidity, the drying of liquidity. And we see that in what's going on in markets, this heaviness within markets, okay? So all that to be said that we have to wait for this to get a little bit worse. So I'm expecting a pullback, at least in equities, and then run up with liquidity. And we're going to see that liquidity run up with the Bitcoin, right? Bitcoin will respond to this liquidity faster than equities will. We'll see it happen sooner. And so we could totally see Bitcoin headed up to all-time highs as the NASDAQ and the S&P fall and correct. Because it takes time for that liquidity to come back and fund back into the system. In the same way that we saw Bitcoin fall, we saw Bitcoin in this downdraft before equities did, right? Equities were making all-time highs again and again and again as Bitcoin wasn't. So we can have Bitcoin go up, responding to liquidity as equities fall down. So that's what I'm looking for this week. I'm looking for the funding stresses. We're going to have a lot more stories. You guys you're going to want to pay attention to the news stories here. All the news stories that have to do with liquidity stresses. And we're looking for the Fed some way admitting it. That's with forward guidance. That's with Fed chairmen coming out and saying stuff. That's with surrogates within CNBC and Bloomberg or whatever floating the news. You could hear a lot of people go, hey, we should really cut more. We should really cut more. We're even having Scott Besson over here. And I won't go through this because I really want us to go over that over Daily Bread tomorrow. But Scott Besson here is basically saying there are sectors of the economy that are in recession. Okay? So why do I think that then Bitcoin might be at the bottom?
Whoa, minute. Hold your horses. Might be,
which is calm down in Spanish.
Guaranteed TM. That's what you said.
Yes.
Now it's might be.
Well, that's where the TM comes into play. I'm not saying Bitcoin has bottomed. I'm saying that I'm preemptively trademarking Bitcoin has bottomed. Okay. It's very much like when you're at McDonald's and the boxes of meat that come from McDonald's say 100% pure beef.
Blasphemy.
It says 100% pure beef because the store it comes from is called 100% pure beef.
Blasphemy. Allegedly.
Not allegedly. I worked at McDonald's. That's exactly what they said.
No, allegedly. Tom, what's wrong with you? Allegedly.
Allegedly?
Yes.
No, the boxes do say 100% pure beef. I think they changed it. But I believe back in the day, allegedly, that was the case.
Jesus Christ.
Come at me, McDonald's. You think I'm scared of you?
No, yes,
I
no,
will put
yes.
you in the ground.
No, you won't. Enough.
Just cut this out. You can fix this in post.
Yeah, right. Cut a live stream.
All right. So we're looking for liquidity stretches this week. Very interested in dollars moving up. It can be pretty interesting. Now for the bottom, there's something that's happening here. So if we take a look at Bitcoin on the daily, all right. So you guys know all our levels over here. These red levels are weekly levels. These green levels are quarterly levels. Actually, let's just hide those so we're not confusing you. Peter gets a little glazy look in his eye sometimes when you take a look at the monthly levels.
Excuse me?
Yeah. So what I've been looking for is a countdown for this yearly wave. This red volume weighted moving average is what we pay attention to for the bull market and bear markets for Bitcoin. If we zoom back out, you'll notice here that when Bitcoin crosses below that level, we are headed into a bear market. When it crosses above that level, we are headed into a bull market. Okay? Now, once you'll notice here that there's these periods where Bitcoin takes off. Why do they take off? What is happening at the same time? Well, you'll notice here that what's happening is that the low level, the lowest unmitigated weekly level, gets crossed by the yearly level. All right? Once the lowest weekly level, when a weekly level gets crossed by the yearly average, that level is invalidated for that trend, which means if we're in a bull market, chances are we're not touching that level, right? High that we're not touching that level. So over here, exactly at that cross is when Bitcoin took off. Over here, we had the cross over here, and then Bitcoin shortly took off after that. Over here, we had another cross. Let's see here. Over here, you see a cross. It crossed down this level, and we had to move up. Here, we had another cross, and it moved up still. Is it guaranteed? No. But generally speaking, once that yearly volume-weighted moving average crosses over the lowest weekly unmitigated level, we can get a massive run-up. And that's what I've been looking for over here. We just cleared, this was on October 10th when Trump tweeted out, go to war with China, 500% tariffs on China. Well, market fell. And where did it fall? It fell to clear every single unmitigated weekly level except this one. And now as we start to cross over it, we're seeing signs of life back in Bitcoin. In fact, if we look at the trend for Bitcoin, let's look at the weekly trend.
Hello, your owner. Thank you for watching. I see you in the chat there. Thanks for the heart. Heart back to you.
All right, so we're seeing here, if we take a look at the 2 hour, we are now moving back towards potentially a green. This is bullish, like this, right? So we have the red, green, more red, green. So here we went up, we came down, now it's green again. Chances are we're going to move back up. How far we go up is the question. But we're already seeing this bullishness that's happening. See, we saw that over here. We're already seeing that Bitcoin has spawned into this bullishness. So we haven't exactly crossed yet. We're almost there. Actually, we did cross it. No, we're almost crossed it. We're at 91,729, and this level is at actually 91.9. So once that gets crossed and validated, let's say tomorrow, chances are that that low end is done and we're off to the races. So you might say, hey, Tom, you mentioned all this bad news, liquidity bad news. Why would that be good bullish move for Bitcoin? Well, for the reasons I mentioned, that the bad news is actually what causes liquidity to come in because that's where emergency liquidity can come, and the opposite is not true. Donald Trump actually mentioned this. He was in South Korea, and he was lamenting. He goes, something's wrong with the stock market. When I do good things, the stock market falls. When I do bad things, the stock market goes up. And he goes, I don't like this. We have to like ban short selling, and we got to fix this or whatever. That's Donald Trump's way of going, hey, I'm paying attention to the markets, and when bad things happen, it goes up. And so now I see when bad things happen, go up. And I learned my lesson real hard, bien sûr, direct, when it came to the COVID crisis. That was the last time I'm ever making that mistake, thinking that, look, the worse the news is, of course the market is going to have to correct. Incorrect. The opposite happens. Okay? The opposite happens. So that's why I am bullish. And then we still have, what is it? Something like, I even take a look. Let's take a look at the liquidation map. We have here, how much short? Yeah, 12 billion short versus 300 million long. We're still mostly, the shorts are holding this thing down. So this is what it looks like with massive drain on liquidity friction, and massive shorting, and Bitcoin is still at 110,000. It's basically been doing sideways for months, since basically May. So I'm not particularly worried. If I'm wrong, Bitcoin falls like a knife, and Bitcoin has top TM will become a new thing. But until then, bullish. Until the trend changes, stick with the trend. All right, Peter.
What, we have a live stream?
Yeah, so before we leave, I wanted to mention to people that we now have a Sacred Prophet 24/7 live stream that's available on our YouTube channel. Yes, even more reasons to subscribe to our channel. Reason I like this is that you get to see the signals at the bottom left of the screen. You get to see some of the news coming up. You get to see the liquidation map. Oh, Peter, I'm going to change that liquidation map to 30 days. And then we also get to see the chart for Bitcoin, and on the 50-minute and the 2-hour. And so if you just want to glance, maybe you don't have the indicators. They're either free if you do the affiliate plan through a crypto exchange, or you can buy them at a yearly subscription in the comments. But if you're not interested in that, you just want to glance at the chart. I want to help you out. I know I lament week by week that I wish I could do more things for you, and I am. I'm doing more things for you here, and you get to see this live stream whenever you like. Also, if anything important pops up, chances are we're going to pop it up on the screen so you can see it. And yeah, so it's here, resource for you guys. You can share it with others. You can use it yourself.
I can't promise it's going to be up always indefinitely.
No, the idea is that it's 24/7 stream, but it can go down when we need to do maintenance or update it, or if we think that it's worthwhile. But this is a pilot project that we're doing here at Sacred Prophet. I'm also doing a challenge for the month of November. It's the National NaNoWriMo, the National Novel Writing Month. So every November, people take a challenge to write all month long. And I am not a writer, so I'm taking the challenge to code all month long. I'm going to create 30 indicators, strategies, libraries, tools, utilities, or something to help with trading, because I want people to really get into the trading space. One, I think it's absolutely necessary. And two, it could make your life so much more enjoyable, taking control of yourself, using your own knowledge in order to make money inside of the market. So I want to create tools for you guys, and I want to be prolific for it. So not only do I want to create the largest indicator library, premium indicator library available, I also want to create free ones for you guys to use. So expect by the end of the month to have 30 indicators all prepared. Will they all be good? No, because they're going to be free. Will some of them be gems? Yes, because sometimes I just can't help myself by doing amazing things. So
how do we get them?
That's just what it'll be. They're going to be inside of the TradingView community library. You'll be able to get them there. They're going to be free. I'll publish them. I'll also be making YouTube videos and shorts for them so you can see how they work.
Why don't you Z them out?
I could also Z them out. Absolutely.
You should.
Yeah. You'll be able to get them wherever Sacred Prophet is sold. Wherever you find Sacred Prophet, you're going to get All the details about what kind of indicators we're making.
Sacred
Stepping up
Profit
our
on
game
X. Sacred Profit
Sacred
on
Profit
X.
on X. Yeah,
All
Sacred
right.
Profit on X, Sacred Profit on Instagram, Sacred Profit on YouTube.
Can people request you make an indicator for them if maybe you're looking for ideas?
Yes, you can. If you have an idea and you present it in a very nice way with emojis and praising me, chances are high that I'll make that for you. Yeah, that's right. You could be like, hey, if I could only have a professional developer make exactly the tool that could help me make money, now's your chance. All those years where people message me, hey, just make this for me, and when I make a lot of money, I'll pay you. I don't have enough cash, but you help me out, I'll be able to do this for you. And I tell those people all the time, go kick rocks. I ain't doing anything for free for you. Well, now we have the benefit of the YouTube channel where your attention and your liking and subscribing helps me. And so we can do a quid pro quo here. I'll go ahead and make these indicators for you if you ask nicely. And what you're asking for is within the realm of possibility. And you get the indicators for free. This is your chance. It's the one and only time it's going to happen, TM. Okay?
Do they have to go to the Telegram group?
No, like a YouTube message, you can go on X. As long as your message is ebullient, effervescent, gregarious, and public, chances are I'm going to respond to it and make the thing that you want me to make.
I didn't understand any of those words. I don't even know how to spell them, so I can't search them. Maybe I'll just have to feed this into ChatGPT.
ebullient, ebullient.
I don't even know enough to. I don't even know enough to correct you if you said it correctly there. Well, that's fantastic, Tom. This sounds like the Santa Claus rally is beginning early.
That's all for Sacred Profit for today. We'll be back next Sunday with even more Sunday and even more fuel. Why? Because the more money you make, the more money I make. That's the way it should be. That's some hard stuff.
What, water?
Ice cold. Ice cold water.
Oh, I see. Stings.
That's right. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. And we'll see you on the flippity flip. On the dark side of the moon.
No.
Let's just get on out of here. Trade that money. Let's go and prop from trade. Let's see what we're made of. Let's watch those charts. Let's trade that news. Let's go be collects for Sacred Profit. Let's go evangelize from the mountaintops. Let's go praise the name of the one and only Tom Hartman. Let's go do that. Let's go do that.
All right. I'm going to just turn you off because this is lame.